Right, welcome back everybody, back in the polytunnel, and we're back on the Piaggio NRG. As you remember in the last video, I was just about to do a belt change on it, and I just wanted to check the rollers, and if you remember, the rollers had all flat spots all over different sides. Some of them were well worn, and some of them were just starting to wear. So I did weigh them, and I got some more rollers there. These ones were actually weighed. I picked the best one. There was one that hasn't started to wear yet, and I think it was this one here, and it actually weighs 6.3 grams. So I went online and I found myself another pack of 6, and as you can see, that's 6.3 grams as well for a pack of 6. So I was thinking about it. What I should have done as well is check the clutch on it as well, but we're just going to go with it. We'll take this off anyway because we've got to get the belt out, and we'll see what the clutch is like. So I'm just going to get my tools all rounded up and we'll get started. Right then, so we're just going to take this clutch off now, and it is a 15mm. So I'm just going to hold the tyre. So, there we go. And let's see what this clutch plates are like. Well, we got quite lucky there because there's actually quite a bit of meat left on that clutch. So I'm really happy with that. We will give the old casing a clean out though with some brake cleaner. But yeah, there's a lot of meat left on that, so that's a result. So as you can see, we'll take this off now, the old belt. And it's actually got yellow springs on here, so I don't know if yellow's the original or what. So I'm going to just give it a bit of a clean out in here, and I'll clean the bell casing out, and we'll get the new belt opened. Before we put the belt on, actually, we'll do the rollers. So I'm just going to clean these out, and we'll come back and take this out and get the rollers fitted. Right, so I've just given that a bit of a clean in there, and I've cleaned the bell housing a bit. And I was just cleaning it. I did notice it's actually made by TGB, and that's the scooter my dad's repairing on his Retro Restore channel. So if you ain't seen that, go ahead and have a look at that. But I'm going to take this. So I'm just going to whip this off now. I didn't do it up tight last time. So get your washers and everything off. Just take that down that way. And I'm just going to give this a bit of a clean up. The starter seems alright, it's not sticking. Sometimes these do have a habit to stick with all the crap in there. And what I'm going to do now is the oil belt looks alright there, that's not a problem on that. Everything looks alright on that, so we won't be touching that. I'm just going to give it a bit of a clean in here because it is a bit gummed up. I've given that a clean out the best I can with the tools I've got. Obviously I've got no airline out here, so I can't blow all the stuff out in nooks and crannies, but I've spun this over and I've checked that oil pump belt, and the belt looks fine, no cracks in it at all, so I'm happy with that. We can start the assembly part. Just going to open the rollers. Just get them there, and they literally just sit in the cups like that. So you're trying to drop them in. Yeah, and this is actually TGB made as well, look on there. These pins sit in them plastic bits, so just bear that in mind. In fact, we'll probably take this off and put it on as one unit so we know it's in properly then. There we go. And then your cup just sits on without the glove. So it locates in them things, then that holds the plastic grommets in then, and then you can just put it all on in one piece, set it back home like that. I did manage to get the starter out, so I've given that a bit of a once over and a bit of a service. Just make sure it sits back in its home where it belongs. Get the belt out now. Sometimes these belts are actually directional, so just you can see that that one is, so just make sure this one doesn't have a direction on it that you can see. It's just got the part number on it, so just bear that in mind. So let's get this open. So obviously the arrow wants to go facing forward, because when the bike's going, the wheels are going to be going forwards, so that's your direction. Just get that on there like that, so we can get that in there. And we can actually put the clutch on. I did clean that out, as I say. And we'll get the bolt for that. Just wind that up. And I will just hold the back wheel. Right, so this is the fun part, getting it over here, because it can be a bit tight with it being a new belt. You have to excuse me back at a minute. There we go. So you just want to wind it on basically, and that's sat on then. Nice bit of tension on that. So now that can go back on there. And just wind that up. And that's lovely. That's lovely. That's a nice bit of tension on that. So that is how you change the rollers and the drive belt on a Piaggio NRG, and it's pretty much similar to any scooter moped with this engine layout. You got your Piaggios, Peugeots, Hondas. It's all pretty much the same. So what we can do now is we can go ahead and put the side casing back on, which is just over here. I did give it a bit of a paint the other day. It's got covered in dust now, so we'll have to give it a wipe over. So just put that a tap, and it's actually 8mm, so we don't need that big one anymore. So we'll just take that out of there, just whiz this in. So don't go too mad at the minute, because we're just going to put them in nice and gently, just to get everything pulled up. Right then, so that's all them parts back on. I'm just going to put the airbox back on now, and I have actually got a new air filter to go in this. We'll just take that out. As you remember, the old one had a rip in it, so that can go. And I've got a new air filter here, as I say. Put that back in. Perfect fit, as you can see there. We have got a new spark plug as well for this. So when you're doing this, just make sure you put your breather pipes back on the back. Pipes are back on there. So I'm just going to put the airbox cover back on now. There we go. So that's them in now. Right, while we're in here, I was going to put a new plug in it, because this ain't the original plug disc. This was one we just got to test it when we was trying the Will It Run video. So I've actually bought a genuine plug now. So we'll just change this over. I think it's time I need a new set of gloves, don't you? Let's get this plug in. I don't believe it wants the end cap on that, does it? No. So we'll wind that in. You've got to go too mad with this. You're just trying to get that copper washer crimped, making sure you get a good seal. There we go. So that's that done. Not sure I like that though. It's not a very good fitting. I don't think it was on that one either, was it? No. If you put that on, I don't think they've... I remember rightly, it didn't go in with that one, did it? Right, so I've actually took the HT cable off because I'm not getting a good fit there with the screw cap on or off. So I did notice when I first got the bike, someone had actually changed the boot on it, because I just found this under the seat. So it's not the original one on there, and I say that wasn't a very good fit. It was wobbling on there, and I won't be happy with putting that back on there. So I'm going to order a new one of these now, and it just screws into there basically, into your CDI unit, and then we'll have a better fitting plug there. So we've put a new spark plug in it, we've got a new drive belt on it, we've got new rollers in there, we've got a new air filter. I've checked the gearbox oil and that looks fantastic, so I'm really happy with that. It's a good colour, so I'm not even going to bother messing about with that. It looks like it's not been done too long ago. I will be checking the brakes, so it will mean having the back wheel off to check the rear shoes. We'll check the front pads in another video, and I also want to get this exhaust off and get that sandblasted and a bit of paint on it. And then the last bit of the puzzle is getting the panels in some colour. So I don't think there's much else to do on this. I need to have the back tyre off, I say, because it keeps going flat. So we'll investigate that, and hopefully I want to get this off of the lift table. So I want to get all the mechanical bits done, really, the brakes and the exhaust painted, and we can hopefully get that off the lift table then, and get the TZR frame on the table. We'll get the wheels and frame on that. I'm going to be ordering the tyres for that hopefully this week, so I can put the panels back on this on the floor, or even with the TZR being on wheels, we'll be able to wheel it back off again. So hopefully we'll have two bikes on wheels, and we can vice versa which one's on the ramp. So I'm going to leave it here because I'm waffling, and if you haven't already, check out my other videos on the Piaggio NRG. So I say it's not a proper restoration, this bike. It's a little quick flip bike. We're not putting a lot of money into it. It's just a quick turnaround, just to get some money back off of this bike to put into the TZR project. So yeah, anyway, until next time, we'll see you about.